So BlaBlaCar is now in 19 countries across the globe. We've got 350 employees based in offices all over the world, and our community now counts 20 million members, and we've been doubling our community year on year for the past 4 years. So yeah, valuations obviously do matter, but I think the main focus is more on what value that we're adding. So in our case, for example, it's the number of people who are traveling every month. And if we can increase that, that's increasing the value that we're adding to our members, and that is impacted, well, the valuation of the company is obviously impacted by that. I think for BlaBlaCar, the main challenge has been to change people's perception and to change their behaviors, because it really is a change in behavior. We're getting people to share a car where previously they wouldn't. We're getting them to think about the fact that the millions of empty seats in people's cars on the roads, actually they're a wasted resource. And the minute that people realize that, actually it's something that they then suddenly realize they're constantly wasting, and they love to then use BlaBlaCar again and again as a solution to that problem. We're obviously firmly in the sharing economy sphere of tech, and I think that more and more it's really a question of changing people's habits. And as people become, as they are today, familiar with, for example, ride sharing and sharing a flat, then that opens other possibilities that previously might have seemed quite left field. But because of the changing habits, that means that we're sort of opening up new possibilities as we go along. I think the important thing for European companies is to become large enough that they don't simply become a target for Google, for example, because if we can build our own big tech leaders, then we create an ecosystem for new tech companies to start, and we breed a culture of success and big companies. So that's really the key. It's to think big, think of Europe as the market, and then to expand geographically quickly. So BlaBlaCar is in 19 countries, and we're really a global ride-sharing solution now, or ride-sharing community. We're in India, we're in Mexico, we're in Turkey and Russia, countries that might not be obvious, and we're about to, for example, launch in Brazil, but really now we're at a stage where we're opening many new markets on a yearly basis. But because we still keep a localized approach and we have local teams in all of these markets, it's not something that we necessarily do overnight. So it's not super obvious our value added in the US, because petrol is really cheap, and we need to have a factor we call pain at the pump. So people need to be feeling miserable when they're filling up their cars. So that's why the US is not necessarily on the cards. I'd also say that actually our basket size is pretty small. So countries like, for example, China, where you've got more than 1 billion people there, kind of makes more sense, because it's still an absolutely affordable solution for the majority of the Chinese population, and actually the numbers kind of make more sense there, for example. In BlaBlaCar's case, I'd say we've got 3 fantastic founders who are super complementary. We've got one guy who's clearly sort of visionary, Frédéric Metzela. He was the one toiling away back in 2006. We've got one guy who's clearly great at execution, Nicolas Brusson, and we've got one guy who's a CTO and is great on the tech side. So as far as I see it for BlaBlaCar, we have just 3 fantastic founders, and that's clearly the key, because it really starts from them, doesn't it?